Hello and welcome to Praying on Purpose. Today is Thursday, which is the second of the intermediary days of the Aseret Tshuva, the days in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippurim. And of course, a very important feature of these days is that we continue to recite the Slichos. There is a section that we recite at the conclusion of Slichos every day that perhaps we would refer to as the Mi She'ana section. And in that section, we actually go ahead and recount and mention many individuals from biblical times whose prayers were answered. Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Yosef, Moshe, Aaron, Pinchas, Yeshua, Shmuel, etc. Each and every one of them at very key pivotal moments finding themselves in what we would call sort of dire straits, very desperate situations. They cried out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we say, Misha Ana, the one, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who responded, who answered to Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, etc. at that place, Hu Ya'anenu, he as well should answer us, because we also find ourselves in a very desperate place. So I want to focus briefly on the first in that list. It says, Misha Ana la'Avram Avinu Bahar HaMoriah Hu Ya'anenu. The one who answered Avram Avinu Bahar HaMoriah on Mount Moriah, Hu Ya'anenu, he should answer us. Now this, of course, is a reference to the Acadia. We read about the Acadia Yitzchak on the second day of Rosh Hashanah, and it would seem on the surface that we are asking that just as the HaKadosh Baruch Hu responded to Avram's prayers, as he davened for Yeshua, for salvation, for assistance, at the time of the Acadia, he should answer us as well. The problem, of course, is that Avram Avinu, as far as we know, was not in fact davening for a Yeshua at the Acadia. What we read on the second day of Rosh Hashanah, what we have been taught is that Avram Avinu went with a full heart and a sound mind, with every desire and every intention to carry out the Ratzon Hashem. He had been given very, very clear instructions. Go ahead and take Yitzchak and bring him as an Ola. And here we respond, we say in our Tfilos, Misha Ana la'Avram Avinu Bahar HaMoriah Hu Ya'anenu, as if to imply, as if to suggest that Avram hadn't been davening at all. Now the truth is, this reference in our Slichos was preceded by a Mishnah. The Mishnah Maseches Tanis tells us that on a Tanis Tzibor, on a fast day, there were certain supplications that were added to the davening. And in the bracha of Goel Yisrael, the bracha that we say every day in the Shemona Esrei, a very similar, almost identical expression was added. Misha Ana es Avram Avinu Bahar HaMoriah Hu Ya'aneh Eschem Yishma B'kol Tzakaschem B'Hayom Hazeh. And then the bracha would conclude, Baruch Atah Hashem Goel Yisrael. So we find in the Mishnah already an idea that Avram daven Bahar HaMoriah, and we are trying to tap into that. So how do we explain this? So I want to share with you a very beautiful explanation, which is found in the Sefer Harei Kedem in the name of Rav Soloveitchik Zochron Livracha, and he explained that we can appreciate this if we take a step back and think about the bracha in the Shemona Esrei, where that is found. The bracha that is found, the bracha of Geula, begins with the words Re'eva Anyenu, which means we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu first to see us B'Anyenu in our state of suffering, and then Riva Rivenu Galenu Mehera Laman Shemecha. We ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to intercede on our behalf and to redeem us. What does it mean when we say Re'eva Anyenu? We ask God to see us in our suffering. What exactly does that mean? Why is it necessary? We don't ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to see us in all the other areas in which we are asking for needs, but specifically over here. It's likely that this expression, Re'eva Anyenu, is actually based on a pasuk. The pasuk tells us, Vanitzak el Hashem Elokei Avosenu, that Bnei Yisrael cried out to Hashem, Vayishma Hashem es kolenu, and Hashem heard our voices, Vayaras Anyenu v'Yasamalenu v'Yaslach Chatzenu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw us in our suffering, our great toil, and the tremendous pressure that we were facing at that time. But there again, we find this very funny expression, Vayar es Anyenu. What does it mean that Hashem sees us in our suffering? What does it mean when we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to see us in our suffering? And the Rav explains so beautifully that there are times where we find ourselves in such difficult places, where we are turning to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for Yeshua, for salvation, and we feel so distant, we feel so disconnected from ourselves, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we don't even know what to ask for. Or we recognize that although we are asking for certain things, probably, in all likelihood, our needs are so much greater, they're so much more profound, and they're so much deeper than that. We don't know what to ask for. We know that we don't know. And so therefore we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Re'ei v'Anyenu, see us in our true place of anios, and then v'riva rivenu ugalenu meher laman shemecha. I don't want to sell myself short by asking for ABC if you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, realize that really my needs are so much greater, they're so much more profound. And the Rav explained that this, in fact, was in all likelihood what happened at the Acadia. Because while it is certainly true that when we read the Psukim, and Chazal as well tell us that Avram Avinu marched to the Acadia be'emuna shalema. He went with a very, very strong, steadfast heart that he was going to go ahead and fulfill the Ratzon of Hashem. Nevertheless, the Medrash tells us, and I quote, Hu sholeach yad litol hasakin. Avram Avinu extends his hand and takes the knife in his hand. Ve'enov moridos demaos. And at that very moment, his eyes started to swell with tears. V'noflos demaos le'enov shel Yitzchak. And his tears began to drip onto Yitzchak. Where was this coming from? Says the Medrash, from the rachamim that a father has for a son. Says the Medrash, nevertheless, it did not hold him back. He continued to do what he was supposed to do, but nevertheless, there was a part of him that was coming apart at the seams. Avram Avinu, as a father, was completely tzibrachin. The Medrash tells us his eyes were swelling up. The tears were flowing uncontrollably from his eyes. And so therefore, if you would have asked Avram Avinu at that moment, what are you davening for? Maybe he would have said, I'm not davening for anything. I'm here to fulfill the Ratzon of Hashem. But yet there was a tefillah that was emanating from within. Because deep, deep, deep down, he was very torn. Because deep down, the rachmanos that a father has for a son was, to a certain extent, holding his heart, holding his mind, and he could not completely separate himself from that. And so therefore, at this moment, there is a tefillah that is emanating from within. And so therefore, the Rav explains so beautifully when the pasuk says, "Vanitzak al Hashem Elokei Avoseinu," that in Mitzrayim we cried out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vayishma Hashem es koleinu means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hears our voices, the things that we ask for, the voices that are audible, the sounds that we make, the cries that we are able to utter, to articulate. HaKadosh Baruch Hu hears that. But more than that, Vayar es anyenu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is also able to see the suffering that is so deep, the needs that we have that are beneath the surface, that we are not even conscious of them. We are not aware of them. And so therefore, we don't even know to ask for them. This is so powerful because it sheds light not only on this particular somewhat cryptic statement in the Slichos, Misha Analav Mavina Bahara Mario Hu Yanenu, but it really, I believe, infuses such meaning and insight into this bracha that we say every single day. Think about it. Re'eva anyenu v'riva rivenu. Who needs the re'eva anyenu? And the answer is because we preface our asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for geula, for redemption, and this is for personal redemption. We're not asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for assistance in all the challenges that we face in this world. We preface that with the remarks, Re'eva anyenu. We ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to see us in our place of true suffering. Only you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, know what we really, truly need. We are now in the midst of a glorious season. We find ourselves during the period of the Aseret Yemei Tshuva, and hopefully we are really, really intensifying our efforts and hopefully feeling a sense of achievement and accomplishment in our tefillos. And undoubtedly, there are many, many things that we are asking for. We're asking Kadosh Baruch Hu for assistance, for parnasa, for refuah, for all the things that we want in our life, and we daven on behalf of Klal Yisrael and the entire world. All true. However, we recognize and would appreciate that there are tefillos that are so deep within that we realize that there are deficiencies within our life, that there are things that are not yet complete. There are parts of our life that are in a state of disrepair, and either because we are so detached we don't recognize them, or because it's too difficult for us to confront them, we don't want to recognize them. But there are problems that we have. There are challenges that we face that have not even made their way to the surface. And so therefore, when we go to shul and we open a siddur, we open the machzor, we open the slichos, there are things that we're asking for, and then there are things that we don't even know to ask for. And so therefore, when we say the words Re'eva anyenu, we are declaring our own limitations. We recognize and we declare HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there are things that I need and I don't even know to ask for them. And so therefore we say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Re'eva anyenu, see us in the true place of our suffering. Please see for us the needs that we have, the deficiencies that we have, that we are not even aware of. Grant us reprieve. offer us salvation for the things that we don't even know to ask for. What an incredible insight. And as we continue throughout the Yemei HaSlichos to say these words, Misha'anu l'Avram Avinu b'Har Moriah, we should be inspired by this tefillah that Avram Avinu was perhaps not even aware that he was uttering. As the Medrash tells us, Husholeach yad litolas asakin, he extended his hand to take the knife. That's what he was doing, and that's what he was thinking. But yet, Einov moridos demos, his eyes were swelling up with tears because deep inside, he was davening for something else. And so, therefore, we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to assist us at this time, not only in helping us with the things that we are asking for, with the problems, with the areas in life in which we know that we need his assistance, but even in those areas where we do not yet recognize, that we appreciate that we are so complex, that there are parts of ourselves, there are parts of our life that are inaccessible to us at this point in time. And so therefore we turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu every day and we say, Hashem re'evan yenu, see us in our place of suffering, v'riva rivenu, u'giolenu mehera, leman shemecha. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.